Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. I hope you all are doing good. Is the Ruger RXM, is that going to be the one that's banned next? Is Ruger going to self-ban their own product? Well, we're going to have to see. I'm going to say this before I get going any further. This channel's made its views known, very well known actually, over the last several weeks about Glock. What they've done. We also reported a couple months ago now how Glock literally, openly, and blatantly called for gun control. And this is one of those situations, and I truly mean this, where I was hoping I was wrong. And when it comes to these types of topics, I'm actually sick and tired of being right all the time when it comes to this. Now, there's some people out there that can't get their specific brand. It's their brand. It's my brand, bro. It's part of my identity. It's part of my ethos. Yeah. We've had a lot of people clacking back on their keyboards. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack. But 2AE to you, you don't understand. But my feelings are hurt. Yeah, whatever. Go lay down. You'll be okay. And here's the deal. We can all still be friends. And we've had fun the last couple of weeks, me reading a lot of those comments. Now, we read the excellent comments because there's lots of you, at least everyone I see in the chat right now, for example. Shout out to all of you, by the way. You guys get it. You guys understood the whole time what I was talking about. And it wasn't that I was coming up with anything particularly smart. I think most of you understood, too, what was going on. And it was going on, in my opinion, and it still is going on, in my opinion. And here we said, this is a slippery slope. Glock, the largest handgun manufacturer in the United States, the most popular gun, whatever you want to call it. Well, the only way I can see it is they bent the knee, at the very least. Some people say it's even a lot more sinister than that, and I think those people might be right too. And I bet you we'll still be talking about this here or there throughout the next year. Because I think there might be a lot more to this than what some people would ever want to know, actually. So I actually have a lot more opinions on this than you might think, but I'm going to reserve some of them because I don't like to start rumors. I don't like to start gossip, but at the very least, California comes out and says, well, we're going after the cruciform style trigger. And the way I see it is Glock said, thank you, sir. May I please have another? No lubes necessary. Just assume the position. We're good to go. Getting rid of the Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5 Glock. Getting rid of one of the most tried and true simplistic trigger designs of all time, which is why I thought all the Glock fans loved Glock, actually. See, I never had anything against its simplicity. I thought that was awesome. It was just never the gun for me because, in my opinion, the goofy grip angle was not conducive to point of aim. And with how hard I had to work to make a Glock shoot accurately, there was just too many other options out there. But with that said, I own a couple Glocks. But at the end of the day, they called for gun control. And it's kind of hard to believe, but not hard to believe at all, because I just know the way people are, that you would have anybody still sticking up for a gun manufacturer calling for gun control. That was a huge, huge deal. And it is a huge, huge deal. It's going to continue to be a big deal here with me. And I know with a lot of you as well, unless or until all the people that made that decision are no longer with the company. Then we can reassess and we can change our minds, but I don't have it in me to forgive a gun company for calling for gun control. And I'm using forgive in a very light sense because I don't judge anybody's soul, and I believe that's for God and God only. But in the just kind of common practice terms, yeah, I'll give them another chance if and when all these people that called for gun control, because they literally called for gun control. And by the way, if anyone's new to the channel, welcome. Good to have you here. If you're new and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this guy's saying Glock called for gun control. I've showed it on this channel enough times. You're just going to have to do your own homework. You're just going to have to look it up because it's not my opinion. They literally called for gun control. And I would find it kind of funny, except for I actually find it kind of sad that I even have to throw that out in the very beginning. You know why I do? Because I look forward to the comments, by the way, on replay, and shout out to the replay crew. Like, leave the comments. I love you guys. I seriously look forward to them. But invariably, I'm going to get a comment that's like, what are you talking about? Glock never called for gun control. 2A Edu, your opinion's wrong on this. No, it's not my opinion. They literally called for gun control completely, provably, demonstrably, and it's even worse than that. And I'll say it again, because, you know, nowadays, you have to say everything twice, at least, because, I don't know, maybe people are just dense and maybe people are just stupid. You know what I mean? No, not everybody, certainly, but boy, there's a lot of dumb people out there. The more that time goes on, the more I really realize that. And it's a shame and it's sad, but I'm going to say it again. I wish I wasn't right about this. I wish I had it predicted that by Glock bending the knee and coming out with the V series, oh, I'm going to buy one the first day it comes out, 2A Edu, because it's a proven technology and it's been the best gun for 40 years. Oh, really? I haven't seen 40 years of testing and R&D and experience with the Glock V series. Have you? Well, of course you haven't, but none of that matters for some people. But I said, you know what, though? This is going to lead to a slippery slope. I said, it's going to happen soon. And guess what? A week later, here we are. A week later, Everytown puts out a letter. This is dated November 3rd, 2025. Boy, oh boy. Does this mean that the Ruger RXM is going to get banned? Not necessarily, but probably. Does this mean Ruger's going to bend the knee? I know some people are just chomping at the bit. 2A Edu, I can't wait to get me a Ruger V series. Somehow there's a lot of people that think this is awesome. Well, Everytown thinks it's awesome. So does Governor Newsom. And if I were to opine, Glock's bank account's probably going to think that's awesome. We already see what they did. What's Ruger going to do? We're going to go over this letter here in just 1 minute. That slippery slope. It's here. It's right now. There's no more like, oh, do you think maybe that they're, do you think if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile? Nah. That was so like yesterday. Give them an inch, they're going to take 10 miles now. And this is why you never, ever, ever acquiesce to the other side. They're not going to stop until every last gun's banned, period. This isn't the end. Of course this isn't the end. This is just the second stage here of the beginning of them trying to ban every handgun, in my opinion, actually. Look, they're going to 3D print, they're going to whatever they do. Can't stop the signal, right? Isn't that what everyone says? Yeah. That V series is going to go within minutes or hours. I'd be surprised if it takes days before somebody has that figured out, if you know what I mean. In fact, if I heard it correctly, I thought I heard Brandon Herrera offer a bounty for if somebody can come up with one. It's going to happen. Now, the other side's never, ever going to stop till they ban all of our guns. Till they completely and utterly get rid of the Second Amendment. They went after Glock. But 2A Edu, Glock was getting sued by 22 states. Yeah, I know, and it sucks. Mexico was suing them too, actually. Yeah, I know. Dude, most of this country's against us at this point. The whole world's against us at this point. It's obvious. It's evident. Yeah, I know. Everybody's after us. Yeah, it sucks. That's true. Well, they were getting sued by 22 states. Have those lawsuits even been dropped? What's to say that if they drop those lawsuits that they don't already have other ones getting written about the V series? What would happen if Glock gets sued dozens of times over the V series the day it comes out. We'll see what happens. I hate forecasting stuff on here because it usually comes true, unfortunately, but we'll see. Well, to EDU, they had to throw you a bone. They had to throw them a bone. I know, I've been told that a lot of times. Yeah. Let me tell you what. Take a mean fighting dog. Dog fighting's illegal, I think, in the whole country, but there's still lots of underground rings of it. Take a dog that's primed and ready for its match and jump in a cage with it and throw it a little dog biscuit. You think it's going to bite you still? I can guarantee it's going to bite you still. Throw them a bone. Why? So they can have a taste and bite you even harder afterwards? Oh, that sounds like a real good idea. No. Look, when I say we, I mean we the people. Not we the gun industry, because I'm not in the gun industry. And more often than not in my adult life, the gun industry's gone against us on a lot of these things. We'll see what Ruger does. I have high hopes, but I'm worried. But we need to make a stand and say not one more inch shall not be infringed. Period. End of story. Because every time the other side passes gun control laws, these are communists. These are socialists. These are social communists. All these different things they call themselves. Well, it's really the same as it's always been, isn't it? It's a battle of good versus evil. So let's just say this. Good people that want to live in a good country with a decent moral character and a little bit of a moral compass, a little tie that binds, versus all the people that want to get rid of this country and hate this country and hate the Bill of Rights. And the whole Bill of Rights is very crucial to this country. It's the only thing that makes America America. It's what makes America different than all these other countries. And don't forget this for 1 minute. Almost every country in the whole world hates America. And some of it's well-deserved. We have a very corrupt government, obviously. But they hate the notion of having a Bill of Rights. And they hate the notion of the Second Amendment, which wasn't put there for if, but for when they come for all the rest. And in my country, we're supposed to have a Second Amendment. And if people hate the Second Amendment, or in their country they don't have it, well, then let's just say this. You can leave our country, and you can go to another country that doesn't have one, and then you'll just be very happy. And that's a win-win, because I'll be very happy too, actually. Like, what a beautiful thing. You hate the Second Amendment, you hate this country, then get the heck out right now. Gone. See ya. And I'll be very happy to see them leave. If they start herding them all up and putting them all on big jet planes and sending them over, everyone that denounces the Second Amendment, which means they hate the supreme law of the land, it means they hate this country, I'd gladly pay my taxes as long as I'm watching those Boeing 747s just flying them the heck out of here. Now, I hate taxes and I think taxation's theft, but that's something I'd be willing to pay for. So if you hate our country and you don't want to be here, just leave. I'll help pay for your flight as best as I can. And here's the other thing. People that live in these other countries, just shut your mouth. You don't live in my country. You have no standing. You have nothing to opine on. Just shut up. You don't matter. You're totally irrelevant. Has anyone else noticed that? You're talking to people. You're online. You make a Second Amendment post. And then some Brit comes in and says, well, here in Britain, blah, blah. Just shut up. Just go lay down. You don't live here? No. The trendy thing to say is America first. I say America only. If you live here, if you're a heritage American, if you belong here, if you should be here, then you have a say. And you all need to start speaking up, because here's the problem. It forms a vacuum. It forms a void. Because so many people on our side just always want to be left alone. Just leave me alone. True, like constitutional conservatives. I don't like the word conservative because that means so many things nowadays. Conservative, let's conserve the Ukraine. No, thanks. That's not America. I don't care. Well, let's conserve Israel. I don't care. That's not America either. No, I mean people that actually are constitutional conservatives that want to conserve the laws of, 1789, 1790, the founding era. You can't crawl in a hole anymore. You crawl in a hole, someone else is going to come fill it in, and they're going to start stampeding right on top of you. That's just the way it works, unfortunately. And trust me, I'm not scolding anyone. I'm trying to give you all encouragement because everybody thinks they have an opinion on everything now, except for the only people that should have an opinion on it. I'm going to get into this Ruger letter. I just wanted to say that first because, yeah, there's literally this right now, and I told everybody so. And I know a lot of you said the same thing because I do read my comments, but a lot of people wanted to fight it off, and there's still people going to be fighting it off. I wish I could patent copium, because if I could patent copium, I could sell it by the metric ton and be the next trillionaire. People are going to cope. Simps are going to simp. All this stuff's going to happen. That's fine, but we need to stay focused on what actually matters. We need to focus on the Second Amendment, which is one of the main focuses and the primary focus of this channel. I'm also going to get into just a little teaser on some new Michigan House gun bills. There's like 5 of them being heard in a committee next week. I put that in the second half of the title because we're going to get to that second. And I'm also going to do a shorter standalone video of that. So this is my long form live stream where we have people hanging out live right now, hanging out. And for anyone that's like, but I don't have 2 hours to watch, don't watch. I'm not an authoritarian. Nobody's making you watch this at all. If I feel like it, not too many people complain that it's in the second half of the video, I might do a standalone video talking about in more detail the Michigan bills. But I am going to give you guys at least a quick summary of them as the stream goes on. So we're going to get right into this letter. But before we do, I want to thank all of you for the many ways you help support the channel. Thank you to my YouTube channel members. I see some of you guys in the chat right now. We've got Paul Bennett. We have Mateo, Denny's Plant-Based Journey, Ron 2A Matters, Ron Wayne Official, who I just had a good time hanging out with him, and the always lovely Mrs. Misty Wayne. We were hanging out. I was his guest on his live stream just 2 days ago. So shout out. And I see a couple of you guys, Mike McClune, Denny, you guys were hanging out in the chat there. Also channel members, Pillbox Bunker, A. Steinman, N8IWS, Barney Brady. And if I miss somebody, it's because there's a lot of chat tonight and it's hard to scroll through all of it. So thank you to my YouTube channel members. And also thank you to anyone who has or may prospectively leave a super chat. I will read those for sure. There's no ad reads. You guys are my sponsors, as well as a thanks to those of you who support on Patreon, as well as Locals, which is a different site, censorship free. Make sure you're following me there. I'm posting awesome deals on stuff. There's extra live streams. So make sure you're tuned in because there's some really good deals on stuff that I've been posting there, as well as over on X. And I have a Cash App link down there in the description as well. So thank you all. And thank you for having me, Ron Wayne. And shout out to the Ron Wayne channel. Gosh, man, Ron and Misty have been good friends of ours for a long time. And of my family, too. So thank you. I mean, my YouTube, the family here, but I'm talking like my wife and my daughter. And all of us have lots of love to you and Misty always, Ron. So if she's watching, tell her lots of love from us to you and yours. All right. Well, does anyone remember this? Man, we're going to try to make this as fun of a topic as we can tonight. I try to have fun. And I do have fun. Like, dude, there's awesome people in this chat. But does anyone remember us talking about this just in the last couple weeks? Being like, man, with how quick Glock bent the knee, how long is it going to take before they start going after other guns? This comes from Everytown. These are the people that we call on the other side. You don't want to go over there, okay? They don't have cookies. Don't go to the dark side. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. This is the other side, we'll just call them. Notice I don't say Republican versus Democrat. Not a fan of the Republicans either, trust me. I know. A lot of you guys are Republicans. We can still be friends. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Shout out to my libertarian friends out there. I'm not a libertarian either. I don't like Republicans either. It's just like, ugh. Now, I do have some good friends, though, that I really like that happen to be Republicans. Totally true. There are some good ones, but just the Republicans, no thanks. Same thing with the libertarians. And trust me, if you guys are real libertarians, you're going to actually really respect what I have to say. Met some awesome people. Some of my best friends are libertarians, okay? But now when we lump it together and say the libertarians, no, not a fan. And I don't think any true libertarians are fans of the, quote, libertarians either, are they? Chime in and let me know. That could be a fun side conversation for you guys to hash out. All right, we'll try to make this fun. This is addressed to Sarah F. Colbert, Esquire, General Counsel for Sturm, Ruger & Co. They're at 1 Lacey Place, Southport, Connecticut, 06890. Dear Ms. Colbert. Now, I looked up Sarah Colbert, okay? I'm just giving you my vibe I had. You guys tell me. Go look her up. Look up Sarah Colbert from Ruger. And it's like this, okay? Now, look. I get it. Shout out to all the beautiful women watching. This is how guys work. And real women will appreciate this, and you actually understand this. When a guy gets a vibe of a chick, he just needs to take a look at her. Does that make sense? And you can tell so much just by looking at her. Now, I'm not talking about the obvious, although this is true also. You know it when you see it. She's hot or she's not. Does she have horse face? Doesn't she have horse face? And look, beauty's only skin deep, but at the same time, you're going to check her out. That's just how guys work, period, end of story. But now let's go a level deeper. You can kind of also tell, like, how much Karen does she have in her? Is she a little more of this? Is she a little more of that? You can just tell. Like, when I met my wife, I'm like, well, yeah, she's hot, obviously. I mean, and that is important, and that does matter. And she was, and she is. But I'm also like, nah, this chick's actually pretty cool, too. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. When I looked at this, and this is how I'm judging this. You guys can judge me all you want. You know, we're not judging each other's souls here. We don't do that, okay? I'm a Christian, but I'm saying just judging stuff in an earthly, you know. Judge them by their fruits. Now, look. So I take one glance at her, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know. So you guys look her up. See what you think. I'm not saying she's going to fold like a cheap suit, but I'm suspicious she could maybe fold like a cheap suit. I mean, you know, like, fine. She won't fold like a cheap suit, but she might fold like a very like lower end, medium lower end suit. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just when I saw the looks of her, it wasn't too confidence inspiring. Now, this is who Everytown wrote this letter to. She's the general counsel. She's a VP. She's super high up in Ruger. And let's cut to the chase. I'm wishing Ruger the best. I'm encouraging Ruger to stand strong. However, strategically, they can fight this off. I want Ruger to fight this off. And I'm still being very optimistic. I was hoping their legal counsel would have been Mr. So-and-so, but it's just not, okay? So this is the Ruger's chief legal counsel, Ms. Colbert. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Harry Grimley? You can just tell. It's like, you know, yeah. You know what I'm saying, Harry. It's like, you know, you see her and you're like, well, she's hot, obviously. But you're like, no, she's just good people too. I don't know this lawyer personally. Trust me, I don't want to know her either. It doesn't matter. My whole thing is I just kind of looked at her and she just had that look where I'm like, ooh, I hope this turns out better than I think it's gonna. On behalf of Everytown for gun safety. Oh my gosh, 2 simps just gave me a thumbs down. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, guys. We got to fight these simps off. Guys, look, you can have a crush on the attorney if you want. You don't have to simp for her, though. I mean, like I said, I hope she stands strong, and I hope they do good, and I'm encouraging Ruger to do good. We'll just leave it at that. Can you believe that, Mateo? You're having a happy-go-lucky stream, and there has to be a simp out there. On behalf of Everytown for Gun Safety Support Fund, we write with respect to an urgent matter of public safety. Oh boy, you know we're going to be less safe when they say public safety. Anything that starts with public safety, you know you're in big trouble. This isn't good. As Ruger is no doubt aware, certain handguns, most notably pistols made by Glock, and others copying the same design, have been easily modified into MGs that fire fully automatically with the insertion of a readily available but illegal machine gun conversion device. Fully automatically? What? Now, I don't have a super high college education, but all of you poets and scholars and PhDs in reading and writing, is that proper grammar? That fully automatically with the insertion, I don't know. Now, let's continue. I told you there'd be some stuff to make fun of in here. No, it's just the way it is nowadays. All the manly men out there, shout out to you, man. The simps, not so much. We can still be friends a little bit, but actually not really, though. Leading to the downfall of this country. All right. The frequency of shootings with such pocket MGs has skyrocketed in the past several years. I wonder if there's any correlation. I'm just going to give you guys another stat, just a random stat that may or may not correlate this in the streets of Chicago, the inner cities. I wonder if you did a stat where you could correlate a certain segment that's 13% of the population committing 52% of the violent crime. I wonder how that would correlate with this. Again, if I have any polling experts or crime statisticians, let me know if you find any correlation that may or may not support my suspicions here. Instead of shunning such a design, Ruger appears to have run towards it, designing its new RXM handgun, introduced in December 2024, to mimic a Glock and to be customizable with the same aftermarket parts. As Ruger must have known, introducing such a design into the marketplace risks exacerbating the proliferation of illegal MGs on the streets and further endangering American lives. Ooh. In recent days, reports have indicated that Glock will soon be pulling its easily modifiable pistols from the market. Go back and look, guys. I'm not copying off of this. We actually have attained a level of provable clairvoyance on this channel. Just go rewind my streams. Rewind the whole thing, play it backwards with the volume completely turned off if that's what you're into. But you'll see. I wish I was wrong. This is literally right here. Everything that I've been going hardcore. I've been going hard in the paint on for the past 3 weeks. It's all coming true right now. Gosh, I wish I would have got proven wrong on this. I hate to be vindicated against all the haters on this, but let's continue. In recent dates, reports have indicated that Glock will soon be pulling its easily modifiable pistols from the market, giving Everytown a big win, while using that precedence to try to take Ruger off the map. God bless you too, Terry Barnes. Thank you for the encouragement. I need it when I'm reading abysmal stuff like this. And God bless you all. A second company, Shadow Systems. Oh, wait a minute. A second company. So, dude, like, we're not even going to have where it's like the slippery stair step slope. No, now we're hearing a second brand this quick. And by the way, this is my first time reading this letter. You're getting a genuine reaction here. I read like the first sentence before I started, just to see if they were speaking English. A secondary company, Shadow Systems, is reportedly doing the same. This will leave Ruger. Wait a minute. Shadow Systems? Is Shadow Systems simping and Newscomb? I'll have to look more into that. Allegedly, according to Everytown, Shadow Systems is pulling their guns too? All right, I'm not going to take Everytown's word for this, but now I'm on alert. I'm going to do my own research. We might be in here bashing shadow systems next week. I hope not. I'm going to do my own research. I'm going to reserve on that if you guys don't mind, because I'm not just going to believe these guys. But according to Everytown, a second company, Shadow Systems, is reportedly doing the same. Interesting. This will leave Ruger as the largest U.S. manufacturer of a pistol that appears to be easily convertible into an illegal MG and risks Ruger's RXM becoming the new crime gun of choice across the country. Now, I think there's another brand, though, of, we'll say, Gen 3 compatible. In my opinion, might be selling more than Ruger, but I don't have inside access to their inventory or financials. But I've been to another company and watched them building their pistols, and this is just me guessing here. I'm guessing Ruger might not be the number one, but they might be. We'll see. While we are not aware of any public reports to date of modified Ruger RXMs recovered in connection with a crime. Oh, wait, so there's no problem here. The letter should just be over. Hold on a minute. While we are not aware of any public reports of data to date of modified Ruger RXMs recovered in connection with a crime, okay, this should be over. There's no problem. None's been used in crimes. No, this is the other side. That's why we can't bend the knee. It is almost certainly only a matter of time, given the rising popularity of these conversion devices of weapons that support their use. Fahrenheit 511. So this is just totally status quo nowadays with these people. There is no problem, but there might be a problem. There might be a problem, so we need to just get rid of it. Ruger claims to be, quote, a model of corporate and community responsibility. For that to be more than an empty promise, and for the reasons set forth more fully below, Ruger must pull the RXM from the market unless and until it changes the pistol's design. We call on the company to do so immediately. Wow. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to these gun bills, I've watched these people. I've been to Lansing more times than I can count. More times than I've ever wanted to be there, trust me. Very evil place. Very creepy vibe. There's some good people there. My representative, Jamie Thompson, a dear friend of the family. Dear friend of mine. Love her to death. She's there for the right reasons. And others. But you just go there, and it's just this sinister, deep, dark. Like, you guys agree with me, don't you? At least some of you do. We're like in a spiritual war right now. This is all highly spiritual, and this is highly evil. And in these evil, dark catacombs and caverns, rooms that people like me and you aren't even allowed to go into. I've been in some of them a couple times, believe it or not. But that's due to my resourcefulness, not because I wanted to be there. Trust me. In fact, I'm almost like mentally scarred by just being around the evil energy that you see when you go to your state capital and just be around a lot of these evil leftist politicians. But no, that's where the lobbyists are. This Everytown that wrote this letter and these moms demand action and all of these, they write the bills for the other side. You know that, right? When these people say they want something to happen, I'm going to bring back an old analogy I've said before because it's just so true. And actually, like, I'll be honest with you. Just put it on mute for 30 seconds because you probably don't want to listen to what I'm about to say. But once you truly understand what I mean when I say sometimes the dog wags its tail, but sometimes the tail wags the dog. It might sound like a little trite thing, but really think about it and really look into what that means. And that's where we find ourselves right now. And it's a very dark, sinister place. So you might want to think about that and truly understand what my analogy means. Many of you already totally get what I mean when I say that. But you might not want to either, though, because Sometimes ignorance is bliss. So just these guys calling for this, in my opinion, means, and it's just been proven so many times before, we're going to start seeing more legislation. That's what they actually mean. There's going to be more litigation. That's what this almost always means. And we try to report, this is not a gossip channel, okay? When they said Shadow Systems is doing the same thing Glock is, I'm just going to have to look it up, okay? Because I'm not going to take these people's word for it. These people lie, they deceive. But we need to know what they're doing because this is a very, very powerful group. I want to emphasize that. When groups like this call for things, they have the power to actually make things happen. Don't forget that. Sorry, my chair creaks. We don't have any sponsors and not very many super chats. So you're just going to have to deal with the creaky chair. I can't afford a new one. But I know it creaks a little bit and I can hear it on the replay. I'm sorry. A few people complained about that. I'm like, well, you know what, though? My people that leave super chats and our channel supporters, they never complain. So if someone wants to buy me a chair because they want to complain, go ahead. But yeah, you know, I just kind of adjust my chair because some people were complaining about that. Sorry, I can't afford a new one, okay? This channel doesn't make any profit. All right. Number one, pistols easily converted to machine guns pose a public safety crisis. Machine guns are fully automatic weapons, have been outlawed for general civilian use for almost 40 years. Yeah, that's not 100% true, but yeah, I mean, unless they were already on the registry, then yeah. May of 86. And were highly restricted long before that because of their frequent use in crime, their role in deadly shootings and massacres, and the, quote, immense danger that their rapid-fire capabilities poses to the public. Federal law bans the sale of machine guns to the public and to any person except those specifically authorized by the Attorney General, and it also prohibits the transfer and possession of them except in limited circumstances. Yeah, that's the pre-86 transferable. You know what I'm saying? I've got PB Blaster, Agorizer. What's happening, man? But the era of the civilian machine gun is back with a vengeance. Are you scared yet? Halloween's over, but you're scared now. But the era of the civilian machine gun is back with a vengeance. The criminal renaissance. Wow, this is wow. These are wordy. These people know words. The criminal renaissance came about because of pistols, whose design has allowed them to be easily, illegally modified with the insertion of a simple dime-sized conversion device called an autoseer. These devices are sometimes known as Glock switches because of their common use in Glock pistols. Although Glock does not make them, pistols affixed with autoseers are illegal MGs. And indeed, the switches themselves are illegal to possess under federal law and many state laws. And if Glock has it their way, they're going to be banned in a whole heck of a lot more. That's what Glock called for. And yeah, we've talked about this ad nauseum. I'm not going to go through it again, but yes. Banning something also on the state level, still gun control. It's more of a ban, and there's a lot of other stuff that gets wrapped up in these state laws as well. For example, read the Michigan bump stock ban bill. See if it bans bump stocks. Not certain that it does, but it bans about 5 to 30 other types of triggers. It's just how this stuff works. Pistols affixed with autoseers are illegal MGs, and indeed, the switches themselves are illegal to possess under federal and many state laws and can empty a 30-round magazine in 2 seconds. In recent years, the ease with which pistols like Glocks have been modified with autosears has gained national attention for its unique and outsized role in worsening America's gun violence crisis. Nationally, from 2019 to 2023, there was a 784% increase in MG conversion device recoveries. In the city of Chicago alone, from the beginning of 2021 through May 2024, more than 1,300 modified Glocks were recovered by the Chicago Police Department. This was on average more than one modified Glock recovered every day. 1352s. According to one Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives agent, the use of pistols equipped with autosears is one of the scariest things, quote, the agency has dealt with in decades. So this is the agency that did Operation Fast and Furious. Okay, this was under the Obama administration via Attorney General Eric Holder. This was something they were trying to do behind the scenes, but they wound up finally getting caught. Where they would purposely sell via straw purchase and to illegals guns here in the United States, knowing that they would get trafficked back to cartels, okay, in Mexico, knowing that the guns would be used by violent people and the innocent lives would be taken, and also knowing that that would help get the public to go along with gun control more. In other words, via Operation Fast and Furious, the ATF literally was busted. And there's probably more to it we'll ever know, but just from what came out publicly, they were purposely trafficking guns to try to make more, quote, gun violence, to try to get more of the American public on board with banning these guns. Now, how much would you have to suspend belief that maybe this isn't what's going on here? Maybe during the current Trump administration, but say not. At the very least, what about the last 4 years under the former vice president's regime? Would you have to suspend belief too much to think that maybe these switches were being allowed to come in? Maybe these switches were being distributed by our government outright. Now, come on, man. Put on your tinfoil hat. No. Operation Fast and Furious literally happened. It killed border agent, Special Agent Brian Terry of Flat Rock, Michigan. I worked in Flat Rock, Michigan for over a decade. It was a sad thing in that small town when that happened. I'm sure there's still many that remember him and grieve to this day. One of those guns that was trafficked by the United States federal government, don't forget this, to up the amount of gun violence on purpose, killed a guy that was a small town hero from where I come from. You know what I mean? It's close to home. Now, with knowing that it's a fact that happened, I can't be the only one that's instantly reading this and being like, well, hold on a minute. They're citing the ATF. And again, I have no proof of this. This may come out in a year or two. Maybe it'll never come out. Who knows? But I don't think you'd have to suspend belief too much to at least consider this a possibility. Maybe our government's been behind the proliferation and distribution. Because I'll tell you one thing of all these, because these are illegal. They come in. They say predominantly from China. Now let's move the goalpost here. How many Chinese SKSs have you seen lately? How many Mac 90s? How many pre-bans? How many 56-1S underfolders have been imported? How many Polytech Legends have you seen? How much Chinese ammo have you seen come in this country since 1994? The answer is none. Because when they don't want something to come in, when they don't want it here and they ban it, it doesn't come in. And I'm talking right gun related. There's all kinds of stuff that gets illegally trafficked. I get all that, but there's been a ban on virtually everything from China. There's an exception to Chinese shotguns, but anything with a rifle bore or their ammunition, It's been banned from import since 1994. And guess what? They don't import them and they don't show up. Well, why are all these switches showing up? Well, maybe they're just doing an extra good job sneaking them in. And I get it. All kinds of stuff is smuggled and it's snuck in. Or maybe, since they've literally been busted via Operation Fast and Furious before, maybe our government's been making the order in recent history. Maybe they still are today. Maybe, and I have to ask these questions just because of what we've seen happen. Maybe they get them directly delivered from China to the local ATF station and they go and throw them out on people's doorsteps like candy. I mean, a lot of these areas where these Glock switches have been used so much, if you drive through town, and I wouldn't recommend it, these people often do like to congregate on the porch, if you know what I mean. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Maybe they're just literally tossing these on the porch. I don't know. I'm not saying I know that for sure, but after Fast and Furious, you have to ask that question, don't you? Look at the war on drugs. Look at all the drugs that they sold on our streets. I mean, we could keep going and going and going. I just wanted to keep it germane to what we know has happened. Just within the whole gun trafficking thing, Fast and Furious, it's 100% germane. If we went to human trafficking, drug trafficking, oh yeah, our government's been behind almost all this. I mean, you can look at all this stuff that's been going on in South America. You can look at stuff that's been going on all over the world. And our government's had a hand in it. Trust me, if we wanted to go off on a tangent, we could. But I'm just trying to keep it focused to this. But yeah, I think anyone with a brain should be thinking about this. I'll just leave it at that. Given the prominence of this issue, it would be impossible for Ruger to be unaware of the national crisis of DIY machine guns. The issue has made headlines in almost every major news source in the country. Now, that makes me think of Operation Mockingbird. Anyone familiar with that? Just go look it up. I like to give you guys homework since this is the 2A Edu channel. Think about this. The issue has made headlines in almost every major news source across the country. Look up Operation Mockingbird. If you know, you know. And some of you guys are chuckling right now because I know some of you guys know what that is, including the New York Times, ABC, and Fox News. One CNN headline from 2022 read, quote, "A device that can turn a semi-automatic weapon into a machine gun in moments is wreaking havoc on American streets," end quote. Mass shootings using auto sears in Fresno, Sacramento, Mobile, and everywhere drew media attention around the country. Wow. So Fresno, Sacramento, Mobile, and just everywhere. These are everywhere. I've never seen one before, actually. I don't know. Maybe my problem is where I live, everybody's too busy working. You know what I mean? Somebody has to work to pay for all of they stamps, don't they? Somebody has to work to pay for they food stamps. You see, hanging out on the porch ain't really a big thing around here like it is in some places, but maybe I just don't get out enough. Maybe I'm not diverse enough. But yeah, these are just everywhere. I don't see them around where I live, though. The ATF has sounded the alarm every year since 2019. Man, I just keep thinking of Fast and Furious, guys. I keep wanting to go back down that rabbit hole. I'll keep reading. Like, you can't even make this up. Indeed, a former associate deputy director of the ATF stated that, quote, "Not since Prohibition have we seen this many MGs being used to commit crimes." Now you're scared, aren't you? Al Capone, Scarface, whoa. I mean, look, we can fix all this real quick. It's called the Naturalization Act of 1790. There's more homework. Go look that up. I want to bring that back. Bring that back, and we don't even have to finish reading this letter. But we're going to finish, just because I know some of you guys are hanging on every word. Even the limited example of Connecticut, where Ruger has its corporate headquarters, shows the devastation that these devices create. In 2023, the latest full year for which complete data is available, the ATF recovered and traced 31 MG conversion devices in Connecticut alone. Senior law enforcement officials in Connecticut have expressed concern at the rising recovery rates. DIY MGs made with these devices have shown up across Connecticut in public parks, residential neighborhoods, city streets, and a hospital. In recent years, there have been numerous publicly reported criminal incidents in Connecticut involving handguns fitted with machine gun conversion devices, including the following. Man, I hope Ruger doesn't fold on this. Someone's going to have to stand eventually. Look, this is just how life works. You have to stand for something or you're going to fall for anything. It's that simple. A 20-year-old mother and her 4-month-old son were shot and killed by a man with a handgun equipped with an MG conversion device. Another person was also shot and injured. And that's sad. That's an evil person that would kill a mother and her son. That's sad. Guns don't kill people, though. People kill people. A man was injured and gunfire struck nearby apartment buildings in a shooting committed with 2 Glocks, one modified to fire as a machine gun. You know what? They're going to mention some more stats and I'll get to them. But you know what they're never going to mention? And they never, ever want to talk about this. But the millions and millions and millions of instances where there's good people every day, many times a police report isn't filed, that use a gun to save good lives. They never, ever, ever want to talk about that. But it's true, and you need to remember that. Multitudes more times, guns are used by good people to save good lives than a certain small percentage of the population that commits the majority of the violent crime in all of these areas. Yeah, there's many, many good people just going about their day saving lives with guns. And I'm going to guess they're never going to mention that here, but we'll continue. A man was shot in the back while sitting in his kitchen. Collateral damage from a gang shooting using a DIY machine gun. There you go, a gang shooting. I don't know how much longer we're still going to have a country. To have a civilization, people have to be somewhat civilized. They have to have somewhat of a grasp on a common moral compass. There needs to be a tie that binds. There needs to be continuity. We just don't have that very much in this country anymore. And there's underlying issues that are leading to all of this. But nope, they want to go after your RXM now. And I guess maybe your shadow systems and your Glock. In a raid, police recovered 6,363 bags of fentanyl, 1 kilogram of cocaine, 119 grams of crack cocaine, and 16 handguns, including 3 modified with switches to fire automatically. Well, there you go. I'll just go with this bullet point. Let's just go with this. This is end of story. We shouldn't have to finish this letter. Okay, so just think about this for a minute. Fentanyl is so dangerous that cops have had it inadvertently touch their skin. Go look this up. It's true. I'm not an expert, but I've literally seen this. It's really sad. Virtually everybody's lost a family member of sorts at this point. You know, immediate or extended family member to fentanyl. I don't even hardly know anybody who doesn't know somebody who's died of fentanyl. This is nasty. This is evil. There's been police officers that get 1 granule of powder, touches their skin, and they start rapidly convulsing. And if they don't have that life-saving antidote shot that they have to plunge, They can die within minutes. This isn't one of those things that many times you can try it once and then learn from your mistakes. No, a lot of innocent young people tried it once or unknowingly tried it once. They thought they were trying a diet pill, but it had fentanyl in it. And they drop dead. They're dead within seconds or minutes at the most. So they find 6,363 bags of fentanyl. That's enough to kill how many people? It's like one of the deadliest substances that exists, from what I understand. At least the stuff they're talking about on the streets, insofar as what they're talking about here, right? Why aren't they writing an 8-page strongly worded letter trying to gin up support to fight fentanyl? But no, they found 3 modified with switches. So hold on a minute. Let me read this sentence again. This is just sickening. These people make me sick. And anyone that would bend the knee to these type of people make me sick too, actually. So in a raid, police recovered 6,363 bags of fentanyl. This is one raid, and they want to come after your guns? Well, they did create the war on drugs, though. So, I mean, 1 kilogram of cocaine, 119 grams of crack cocaine, and they want to go after the 3 handguns. Some of you know my friend Rick. He's been a guest on this stream before, and we need to get our schedules figured out so he can come again. He's been my longtime friend, and he still is my good friend. My good friend Rick. He's a policeman for a very small township, right? And I saw him one day. We were just at a random Speedway gas station. I was coming in late from mowing lawns till after dark, and he was passing through getting gas on his way to work. And sometimes he listens to this stream while he's working the night shift. So if you're listening, shout out, Rick. I hope you're safe out there. He's a policeman, and he had his whole, kit and caboodle, whatever you want to call it, his kit, his vest. 2 big old syringes prominently right there, right on the chest. 2 big syringes. He's like, you know what this is? I'm like, what's that? He says, this is the anecdote that if you inject like immediately, it can potentially, it's your only chance, save your life with certain drug overdoses. The main concern, fentanyl. I said, oh, wow, so you have 2, so you could save 2 drug users' lives. He goes, no, one's for the person that's OD and the other's for me. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, you don't do that crap. I'm like, you don't do it, do you? And he's ready to punch me right in the face. He's like, dude, of course I don't do that. Like, for you to even ask, I was joking with him. I knew he didn't. He's like, no, dude, if the person's been using it and I touch them, I could be dead within seconds or minutes. I'm like, wait, so if they're using it and there's a little residual that got on, say, their blouse or something, and you touch, you could die? He's like, yeah. One is to try to save the person that's overdosed, and the other one is in case I need to stab it in myself. Man. Not to mention our family lost a niece to fentanyl. That makes it hit pretty close to home, doesn't it? How dangerous it is. My police officer friend talking about how one's for the person he's trying to help, the other's for him. Because if you just touch the person that's doing it, you could die. Like, there's no outcry in this letter to do anything about the fentanyl. And trust me, I'm not a fan of cocaine or crack cocaine or any of this either. Like, I mean, right? These examples come from a simple internet search, and therefore are only exemplars of the crimes actually committed involving converted MGs. Both these crimes and the public outcry about DIY machine guns occurred before Ruger even put the RXM on the market in late 2024. So let me guess, all the fentanyl deaths are Ruger's fault too, it sounds like from reading this. The public outcry, that's actually not hyperbolic. That is true. When every town and mom's demand call for their people to rally, I've seen it. I've just seen it, guys. It's true. They show up to the Michigan capital, to the nation's capital, to your home state's capital. They're everywhere. They show up by the thousands. They stampede the place. And stampede is a good word because most of these moms, there's a reason they're demanding so much action. Most of them do have horse face, okay? It does look like a stampede. So I use my words very carefully and eloquently. And these are not good-looking people on the inside or the outside. They stampede and they converge by the thousands. So, yeah, as far as the outcry goes, I got to give it to the other side. They're whipping our butts when it comes to that. I went to a Second Amendment rally just a week ago where 3 people attended. These people show up by the thousands and they scream and they're nasty. But all these examples happened before Ruger even put out the RXM. Section 2. Ruger RXM pistols, like many Glock firearms, appear to be capable of easy conversion to MGs. I see a couple member super chats here. Thank you, A. Steinman. Member for 5 months. Correct me if wrong. Aren't machine guns belt fed? Well, that depends. Some machine guns are belt fed, but no, that's not a prerequisite. There's many machine guns that are not belt fed. And although they're rather rare examples, you can have belt fed semi-autos as well. So Ron 2A matters. No message, but a member super chat. Thank you for being a member for 5 months, man. I appreciate the support. Thank you. Glock pistols have been easily susceptible to illegal machine gun conversion because of the presence and accessibility of a cruciform-shaped trigger bar. We were talking about this, Mateo, weren't we? It's all about this cruciform right now. Right now, that's what it's about. And let me know. Let me know in the chat. And if you guys are watching, shout out to the replay crew on replay. Let me know in the comments. If, and gosh, I hope this doesn't come true, but if they ban everything with a cruciform trigger, or these companies self-delete their own product line, whatever, at the end of the day, it's the same result for us. Do you think they'll go after the next trigger, or are they just going to stop? Because of the presence and accessibility of a cruciform-shaped trigger bar, which creates an unusually large surface area for an auto series disconnector to target. Well, here's the thing. I can't think of a semi-automatic design that exists at all that somebody can't manufacture or print or make. It's just, this is a very slippery slope, trust me. Additionally, after slipping out the removable backplate, nothing in these Glock pistols has shielded the trigger bar's large surface area from the back of the pistol, making it possible for an auto series disconnector to slide in, contact the trigger bar, and push it downwards so the gun can continuously and rapidly fire with only one pull of the trigger. Hold on, I'm going to dissect this in a second. This is in sharp contrast to most other pistols, which do not accept auto series as easily. All right. First of all, and this is where words matter, and they're changing the language on us. Okay? The NFA does not classify as a machine gun that shoots more than one projectile automatically with a single pull of the trigger. It's with a single function of the trigger. And words matter. See, they're trying to slip in this new precedent now that would ban binary triggers, things like this, pull release. The ATF's even been caught in recent times putting out rulings saying with a single pull of the trigger. These sound like small details, okay, that they want to be swept under the rug, but they're changing words. They're juxtaposing function and pull, and they're using them interchangeably back and forth, depending which one they want it to. Sometimes they want it to read function of the trigger. Sometimes they want it to read pull of the trigger. And they're doing that here. Here's another thing. Now, I'm not a big Glock guy, but I know in Gen 5 for a fact, Glock put in a denial piece, actually. So you've got the back plate, and it used to be there were two little open kind of horizontal slots in the back of it. You remove the back plate and put on the switch, per se. Well, there's a piece of polymer that juts up. It'd be if you're pointing the gun downrange. On the right-hand side of it, there's a piece of polymer that stands up proud that didn't used to be in the early Glocks, but Glock kind of quietly behind the scenes, in my opinion, was creating a system of a denial piece, making it where you couldn't just snap a switch or slide a switch into place on the back of that slide. Isn't that right? Gen 5, I believe, is when Glock started that. You're 100% correct, Rosie. How you doing, Rosie? Channel member. Thank you for hanging out. I'm going to read what Rosie's saying here because it's the most true statement there is. And it's 100% true. Most Pro 2A people have day jobs or partners that have day jobs, which makes it very difficult to attend. The blue-haired crowd, well, you know, without me having to say it out loud, you're 100% correct. And trust me, you're 100% correct, period, end of story. What I'm about to say is not me disagreeing with you, Rosie. I'm not admonishing you. So over here, you're 100% correct, period. Next sentence. It doesn't matter, though, at the end of the day. It just is what it is, and that's why we keep losing, right? It just is what it is. Most people on our side, we have a job. Yep. Somebody's got to work for all these bums to get they food stamps, don't they? Of course. Of course. That's why they're making it a pretty tough way to go right now to try to be a productive member of society, to be a wage slave. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Because the other side, they figure out how to do it some way or another. They just do it. And I know the reasons why they do. I know they come in on buses. I know a lot of them are paid per diem. They're given lunch. They're given this. They're giving free t-shirts. I've seen it all. There's been videos proving there's bundles of money a lot of times where they're handing it out. I get it. They've got Soros. They've got Bloomberg. They've got the billionaires. All we have is a couple wage slaves here and there. There's no billionaires promoting our cause. So on a philosophical matter, yes, it matters. It truly does. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to the rubber actually meeting the road, when it comes time for those scales to balance on the other side, it doesn't matter anymore. The other side's just winning on this. They just are. Period. Look how much friction we're getting. And it's almost seeming impossible to get Michigan Republican Representative Judiciary Chair Sarah Lightner to even have a hearing to repeal red flag laws. We said, well, we'll have a big rally to show her that there's enough public pressure for her to do this and other things that are on the pro-Second Amendment agenda from the gun rights groups. Well, besides the gun rights groups that were there speaking, and I'm not the head of a gun rights group, but I was there speaking as well, 3 people showed up. You know what she did? She laughed at us. Which is actually understandable to a point. I'm not sticking up for her at all and her decisions, but yeah, I mean, you better listen to us, ma'am. We're going to prove we know business. Look at all of us that are here. Oh, well, there's actually nobody here, but I mean, suspend belief and pretend that there's people that'll, you guys know what I'm saying. And trust me, I'm not putting down anyone, not trying to make anyone feel guilty. If someone's feeling guilty, that's your problem, not mine. I'm not calling anybody out. If you're feeling guilty, then maybe you should feel guilty. I'm not calling anybody out, though. You know what I mean? Because trust me, I can tell you how many people are at the events I go to because I was there. I am not telling you I can go to all events. I've missed Second Amendment rallies before, too, just to make that perfectly clear. I'm not sitting here saying, I go to all of them, so everyone sucks. No, I can't make it to all of them either. There you go. I confessed, right? No, it's just, no, I do go probably to more than anybody I know. That's true too, but I don't make it to all of them either. And I feel kind of guilty when I can't make it to certain events as well. But when they talk about the crowds of people, yeah. All right. Yeah, and Mateo confirmed with me. They did put a denial thing. They put a denial in there with Gen 5 where you can't even do this. So a lot of this isn't even true, actually. But it doesn't matter because it became true because Glock bent the knee, in my opinion. And Glock, in my opinion, set bad precedent. So since Glock said, all right, Uncle, we'll just build the V series. That's my opinion. And some people have said it's even more nefarious than that. And we'll see on that. We might talk about that later. Ruger launched its new pistol, the RXM, as a collaboration between Ruger and Magpul Industries. Oh, wait a minute. Are they going after Magpul too? On December 11th, 2024, Ruger and Magpul built the RXM to mimic the Glock deliberately and to accept virtually all Glock aftermarket accessories. Despite the grave public safety concerns of this design, concerns dating back to as early as 2017, and accelerating after 2021, Ruger chose to copy Glock's easily accessible cruciform trigger bar. Assuming the public reports are accurate, the RXM is thus likewise particularly susceptible to easy illegal modification. No, it's called like, look, Glock's been making guns since like the early 80s, mid 80s. They have different generations. All of a sudden, Gen 3, quite a few years ago now, kind of went out into the public sphere. And everybody started making all this stuff for them. It's called gun Legos, for lack of a better word, right? In the rifle world, it's kind of like the AR-15 is the adult Legos. For the pistols, it's predominantly become the Glock Gen 3 and compatible as the Legos. That means there's been lots of innovation, lots of companies that have come out with both upgrades, alternatives, accessories, aftermarket, all kinds of things. You can get these frames in almost any color, texture, shape you want. You know, do you like a flat face trigger, a curved bow trigger? Do you like more of a hinge trigger? Do you like a bladed, a safety trigger? I mean, this guy's the limit. You can just keep going and going and going. And it gets to the point where once you kind of own like a nice repertoire, you can sit there and be like, let's see. It's a day of the week that ends in the letter Y, so I think I'll switch it up today when I go to the range or carry or whatever. It's made these guns highly, highly adaptable. It's made them very modular of sorts, especially when it comes to this newer, in my opinion, improvement on the Glock design. Actually, the RXM, in my opinion, no bones about it, is actually a improvement, in my opinion, on Glock. You guys can let me know what you think about that. I'm not talking politics right now. I'm just talking like personal preference. Although I don't own an RXM, but I like to. I wish I could afford one, or I would actually. But to me, it's actually yet another innovation, and in my opinion, probably an improvement, to be fair. But no, it's because the Glock design is known to be simple. And although I don't like the way it points, I don't like the Glock hump, I don't like the Glock knuckle, I haven't been a fan of a lot of their grip textures, like once you get past Gen 2. And you know, I don't like the way they do their optics with the MOS. I don't like they ship with plastic sights. So I have some bones to pick with the gun itself. This is way before they called for gun control, trust me. Being very consistent here. And I've been consistent about this for years on this channel. It's never been my favorite gun to shoot. However, there are certain things to it that's to be desired. It's simplicity. A large amount of support out there. You can readily and easily and affordably have spare parts. Have projects that are intriguing to you. Customizing things to suit your needs. A time-tested, proven design. These are all reasons why RXM would want to, quote, copy that design, that in my opinion had zero to do with so that a certain small percentage of the population that commits the majority of the violent crime could go gangbanging in the hood. Okay? Gangbangers are going to gangbang. Okay. These people are going to act like these people. And for those of you that are like, 2A Edu, sometimes you're not so nice. Well, no, you guys, I'm being very nice. I just call these people. I actually have to suspend belief and pretend to be nicer than I am to call them people. But I'm going to call them people today. See how nice? See, someone just left a comment and they're like, 2A Edu, now you're being too nice. Look. There's 1,000,001 reasons why Ruger would want this design, none of which would be so that these certain types of people can do certain types of things that these certain types do. You know? Oh, this is so agitating reading this, but we're trying to make it fun. You're having fun, aren't you? Well, considering, I mean. The cruciform trigger bars of a Ruger RXM loft and the Glock on the right. I mean, J-Flow, I mean, you know what I'm saying. I mean, criminals will criminal, guaranteed. TMR says, I was hoping it was sarcasm. Look, you'll take me being nice even if I'm being sarcastically nice, won't you? What do you think, Midwest Logger? How you doing, Midwest Logger? I'm nice, aren't I? Well, we're going to leave it to Midwest. He's going to decide here. Come on, buddy. Come on, man. Midwest Logger can tell you guys whether I'm nice or not. Zay? Ooh. They don't like. Too much area for the seer. I'm just laughing. Some of you guys are hardcore Glock people. Now, look, when I rip on Glock, I rip on them for calling for gun control. Okay? I'm a 2A absolutist. I'm not ripping all you guys that own Glocks. Don't burn it. I've said this in the past. I'm going to say it again. I'm not a fan of effigies. Don't make effigies and burn, and don't do that. Unless that's what you're into. Have a safe fire, you know, don't be burning the neighbor's lawn with it or whatever. Maybe the neighbor's lawn's one of my customers, and if their lawn's burned, I won't have any grass to mow in the spring. So don't do that. But at the same time, if you need to politely burn, go ahead. But no, I'm not condemning anyone that owns Glocks, okay? You can be a fan of its design. It can be your favorite gun. And I know you're just as mad, if not probably even 10 times madder than I am, that they're getting rid of your favorite design and going to something unproven, and you're just going to have to wait and see if you like it or not. And then there's a lot of you that have the moral dilemma. Do you want to support a company that's openly called for gun control? It's a personal decision. I'm not going to tell you how to make your decisions, but I would ask you this. Think about it carefully, though. Think about it carefully. It's a balance of materialism versus your ethos, your fundamental beliefs. Do you want to support a company that calls for gun control, or don't you? It's a personal decision. You're going to have to decide that. Ruger, we don't know what they're going to do. We just don't know right now, and I'm hoping they're going to stand strong. Now, look, Bill Ruger back in the 90s called for 10-round magazines. He was instrumental in the assault weapons ban with the magazine limit. Yeah. Bill Ruger grew old, and then he died. The company got passed on to the next generation. That's why this channel, and I think a lot of you, and some of you still won't do it, and that's your decision. Ruger's in good standing again, because the current Ruger, the current organization, I've never heard them call for gun control even once. I haven't seen them bend the knee. See, remember, Glock did two different things. What I call, and this is in my opinion, bent the knee, is getting rid of Glock Gen 3 through 5, creating a slippery slope, opening the door for all of this. But on a separate note, even if that's not enough, that's something totally separate. On a separate note, they out and out called for gun control to the Oklahoma State Legislature and encouraged them in 20-something other states. So there's two things Glock did. I've not seen Ruger under its current makeup, its leadership, its ownership. I've not seen any evidence of them doing that. I hope that remains the same. Hope they stand strong. We're just reading this letter to show you what the other side's plan is. These are influential people. This Everytown, they help write gun laws. The pressure's on. That's what this tells us. Glock went over and appeased Newsom. Now the ball's in your court, Ruger. And Magpul, it sounds like, as well. The removable backplates of the Ruger RXM left and Glock Gen 3 pistol right. This is the backplate. I don't know about the RXM, so maybe one of you all that's an RXM expert, can help me a little more. It's hard to tell. This picture is so small. Does the RXM have that little denial piece? See, this is more of like a chassis type gun. But does the Ruger have that little denial piece on the backplate to prevent the sear from snapping in? Because I know Gen 5 Glock does. So there's where I'm doing the Ask the Audience. I think there was a game show where they can say, Ask the Audience. So maybe some of you guys can help me out. Not an RXM expert. Okay. Had one in my hands. Had enough of a feel for it where I think I might like it better than a Glock. I think it's probably an improvement on one. I don't own one though. Okay. So does it have the denial piece that like the Gen 5 does? So somebody help me out, and because I just don't know. I don't want to take every town's word for this. Okay, Damien Christ has helped me out. Thanks, Damien. I appreciate it, man. He's saying no. Mateo's saying no. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Because these guys lie about almost everything. I don't want to do that. We don't need to lie to impugn these people. There's already enough subject matter. Indeed, Ruger boasts of the RXM similarity to Glock pistols. We've discussed why earlier. There's lots of things to like about this platform, right? Ruger's press release for the RXM states that, quote, most major components are designed for Glock Gen 3 compatibility with off-the-shelf parts, holsters, and accessories for nearly unlimited customization, end quote. Yep. That's why a lot of people are real excited about this platform, right? You want your options. You want your availability. You want your spare parts. Dude, they're going after our guns every day. Like, that means you're smart if you want tons of extra parts. This is proving how smart you are if you were one of those stocking up extra parts. Actually, nobody's going to complain they have too many cruciform triggers when this all shakes out, I don't think. It's just my opinion. We'll see. Ruger's Instagram promotion of the RXM markets, quote, ultimate flexibility to customize your firearm. They talking about like yoga classes now? I'm thinking of like some chick in yoga pants, like bending her legs behind her head and all this like they do. I have to lift my boot up to tie my shoes, okay? I'm not that flexible, but whatever. Ultimate flexibility to customize your firearm and promotes, quote, further personalizing your RXM by pairing it with a variety of aftermarket accessories. One of Ruger's representatives highlighted at a trade show that since the RXM is highly Glock 19 Gen 3 compatible, almost everything out there that exists in the aftermarket space fits in the RXM. In short, Ruger is capitalizing on the popularity of aftermarket Glock parts and accessories despite the nationwide crisis caused by illegal aftermarket, quote, Glock switches. Now, I'm going to drop another story on this channel soon. I've just been really busy this week. Did you know Glock has put out an official statement that you are not to modify your Glock at all? Did you guys know Glock has a whole new website that half the talking points on it, in my opinion, remind me of this person's website, Everytown and Mom's Demand? Did you know? Do you want to know? Let me know. Let me know in the chat and in the comments, and I may be inclined to put that video out. You know the plastic sights that come on the Glock that everybody gets rid of immediately? Your daddy might not be happy with you if you do that to his gun. And when I say your daddy, I ain't talking about your real dad. I'm talking about Daddy Glock. Your overlord, your master. They're getting pretty cocky. They're getting pretty brazen. I'll just leave it at that, in my opinion. I mean, we say in my opinion a lot on this show. Everything's in my opinion because, well, I mean, look how many lawyers' signatures are attached to all these companies. Ample evidence. Now, hold on, J-Flow. I'm not even joking. Here's the crazy part. Like, I uncovered this website not many people know about, I don't think. Do you agree, Mateo? Not many people know about this website. They're not going to like. If you guys want to see a video of stuff you might not like, let me know. It's tough, too, when you put out that kind of video. You put out a video that people won't really like. Sometimes they get mad and shoot the messenger. But, oh, yeah, they've made some statements lately that to me were astonishing, actually. Ample evidence online shows that consumers have, in fact, been able to convert the Ruger RXM to a machine gun by inserting a conversion device. That evidence includes videos of people firing the RXM with auto sears. I thought they said earlier there's been no reported crime with an auto sear. Did you guys remember that? I'm not going to go back and reread all this, but I thought they said that as of to this date, there are no reports of crimes with them. But they also said just inserting one makes it a crime. Now they're saying they have the evidence of people firing the RXMs with sears. So either this is false or the previous they said is false. Okay, Vince gave me a request. Thank you, Vince. And how you doing, man? I hope you're doing good. A lot of times people take stuff for granted. You can ask Mateo. I've literally gone out there in the past and said, guys, if just like one or two or three of you wants me to do this video, I will. And not one person will say anything. So I don't. And then like 2 weeks later, 10 people complain, you were supposed to be doing this video. No, I wasn't. I asked if anybody cared and nobody did. So I said, all right, I won't waste your time. I mean, you know. So if a couple more people want to see it, I might do it. Assuming that what these videos depict is accurate. Oh, so they're speculating now. Assuming that what these videos depict is accurate, the RXM is easily converted into an MG. For example, one retailer claimed that the RXM, quote, came straight out of the box. They slapped a switch on the back and ran it for 451 rounds as a full auto. Another gun owner posted a video of themselves firing a modified RXM with the caption, the first Ruger RXM fully auto. Now, that's hard to believe those videos would have been on YouTube, okay? Because they removed one of my videos like a week ago that was like 100% on the up and up. Not that I have anything against Glock switches. I'd love to own 10 of them, but I don't own one. And yeah, they take my videos down because they're too innocent. 2A-EDU, this is what it said. They take my video down. 2A-EDU, because you followed the rules on YouTube too well, now we're going to take your video down. So go figure. I followed the rules too much, they said. So I don't know where these videos are coming out because torture test. Okay. Oh, they're citing YouTube. Wait, they're saying, wait a minute. They're saying these are YouTube videos. Okay, so I guess on YouTube you can do that, but not this. I don't care. I don't believe in censorship. I think it's great people are doing videos if that's what they're into. And to imply that these were illegal is a whole nother thing. First of all gun control is unconstitutional, obviously. It says shall not be infringed. So I don't accept that these switches should be illegal, by the way. But suspending belief for 2 seconds under current law, they're still not illegal for everybody. It's called certain types of FFLs that are a special occupational taxpayer actually can lawfully do this and can lawfully use them for demonstration purposes. They may have a law letter from law enforcement. Okay. They may be trying to get a certain military contract. So just because there's people with videos doesn't mean they were illegal videos. And by the way, we shouldn't even have to talk about any of this because machine guns should not be illegal. Illegal people should be illegal. Why don't we just make criminals illegal? How about that? Okay, how about that? Or how about we just go back to the Naturalization Act, 1790, have voting done in this country like it was in 1790, And we just won't have to worry about any of this, actually. 5 days after the RXM's release, one user claiming to be the executive director of the National Law Enforcement Firearms Instructors Association stated that he was somewhat surprised Ruger didn't add some kind of bump or something inside the slide to prevent a switch from being used, especially given all the lawsuits going on. Okay. All right. So that does answer my question earlier, but my viewers are smarter and you guys already answered it for me. So who's this guy with now? This doesn't sound like anyone on our side. This sounds like the chief jackboot polisher. Executive director of the National Law Enforcement Firearms Instructors Association. Wow. What do you think about that, Mateo? Can you help me out? Is this guy on our side? I have to say this again. Wow. The executive director of the National Law Enforcement Firearms Instructors Association stated he was surprised that you could put this on there. It saves one life. The risk that Ruger's RXM could become the new illegal MG of choice quickly became apparent after reports of Glock discontinuing its easily convertible models were made public. Yet again, unfortunately proving us correct here on this channel. Once Glock came out with their big capitulation, it'd be soon to follow. Here we are. I'll do the video, guys. Thank you for letting me know. Commenters on social media stated switches work just as well on a Ruger RXM. And, quote, so since the Ruger RXM shares so many parts commonality with Gen 3 Glocks on purpose, can it technically have a switch installed? Another user noted, looks like the RXM is going to take over the market. On a Ruger Instagram post about the RXM, a third-party commenter wrote, Ruger coming in hot, just in time to scoop up all those Glock sales. Wow. So they're spying on even down to threads on Instagram posts. They're keeping track of what people are saying. Yeah, I agree. Live life. What's happening, man? How you doing? Shout out to Alabama, by the way. It doesn't sound like he's on our side. Rules for thee, but not for me. Poor Man's Gold says, how many Glocks have sold in America? There are millions, so all this means nothing. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but if you mean dude, people are still going to put the switches on them and there's still going to be crime in the inner city, I agree with you. Because guess what? These laws, as all laws, only affect the law-abiding. Criminals don't follow laws, and they never, ever do. So no, none of this will reduce any crime, in my opinion, at all. Which I think is what you meant by that, but if you meant something different, by all means, let me know. Section 3, and this ladder is almost over, and we're going to get into a little bit of a teaser on some stuff to come in Michigan, but there will be a video on the Michigan thing, so I'm not going to leave you hanging. All right, Section 3. Ruger's. Oh, wait a minute. This is going to... Okay, I just got to have... This is getting CC'd already to people in office. Ruger's continued sale and distribution of the RXM pistol exposes it to significant litigation risk. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. $40 years of Glock sold, they weren't confiscated. Confiscation. Well, I don't know. You might need to think about that for a minute. Actually, some have been confiscated, actually. Actually, there has been. It seems to me like there's different times where in California, they made certain guns illegal. And by the cop taking mere possession of this gun, it changed hands so it couldn't be given back. I've seen whole things on that. Let me ask you this, Poor Man's Goal. Are you saying this is fine and not that big of a deal, or are you saying something else? Because I'm not quite sure. Let's cut to the chase here, man. Are you saying I'm making too big of a deal out of this? Is that what you're saying? Because I don't know. And I'd hate to put words in people's mouths. Oh, you're saying any in circulation can be converted. Yeah, we're on the same page there. Yes, that's true. And you guys, that's why I'm asking. Sometimes I read a comment, I'm like, this could go either way. There's a lot more of you than me, and sometimes I don't get the full context. So apologies. If you're not for this, I was not putting words in your mouth. Just asking questions. Right? Just asking questions, brother. All right. As most of you are aware, since 2024, the cities of, oh boy, get ready for this. The cities of Chicago, Baltimore, and Seattle, and the states of Minnesota, Maryland, and New Jersey have each sued Glock for selling pistols that, because of their design, are easily converted to illegal MGs. Judges in 3 of those lawsuits so far have held that plaintiffs have stated viable claims for relief, rejecting Glock's motion to dismiss and ruling that the lawsuits may proceed. Notice Glock hasn't actually lost anything in court yet. Keep all this in mind. They haven't actually lost yet. Just some of them were allowed to proceed. If Ruger continues on its present path, it faces similar litigation risks, especially given that Ruger put the RXM on the market years after. The dangerousness of this design became apparent. Ruger faces a choice. So this is the ultimatum. This is the last paragraph, the ultimatum. Ruger faces a choice following Glock's recent announcement. Will it continue to distribute and sell the RXM despite the evidence of its ease of convertibility to an illegal MG, or will it put public safety first to ensure that Ruger does not exacerbate the alarming proliferation of deadly DIY machine guns across American cities and states? We urge you to take the only responsible course of action and remove the Ruger RXM from the market unless and until you change the pistol's design. Signed, sincerely, Eric Tershwell. Carbon copied, the Honorable William Tong, the consulate from China. No. The Attorney General of the state of Connecticut. Oh. Doug Smith, CEO of Magpul Industries. So that's a key element to this at the very end. They're sending this to the Attorney General. Wink, wink. Hey, Connecticut. Right? Don't forget the whole Connecticut thing with the suing of Remington. Oh, yeah. That's what some people say started all this. That's a whole nother long road and could be a whole hour and a half, 2 hours stream in and of itself, actually. We think you could be sued right now. Wink, wink. Ruger. Magpul. The letter's to Ruger's lawyer. Okay. However, it's carbon copied to this Attorney General. So the way I understand this, I think a reasonable person could conclude they're asking the Attorney General of Connecticut to start suing Ruger right here, right now. Now, here's the question. Will Ruger A respond by calling for gun control, calling to ban a bunch of items? Will Ruger self-cancel and cancel all their products, which is a brief summary, in my opinion, of what Glock did? Will Ruger just kind of do nothing and keep doing their thing? Will they fight back? I mean, we're just going to have to see what happens. Let me know if any of you have any thoughts on that. I do sincerely and genuinely mean this. I hope Ruger's going to stand strong. I didn't like the looks of their attorney, but that was just on a visual first impression, so it's nothing personal. She just didn't look like she has the balls, I'd like to see in something like this. But, but I'm remaining optimistic. I'm hoping this Sarah Colbert and the rest of Ruger will not put out letters. I'm hoping they will not put out letters calling for gun control like Glock did. I'm hoping they will not just self-delete their own product line and cancel it. There was a lot in this. I hated reading this in one sense, but I did enjoy reading it because I got to read it with all of you. Now, we'll see what happens. But my prediction hasn't changed since a couple weeks ago, right? Where, yep. Now that they've gone through Glock so quickly, or some people even said, well, Glock was probably in on it with them the whole time. I have no proof of that allegation, but some people have said that to me. We'll see. We'll see. There might be more that comes out on this later. Don't know yet. Oh, but my prediction stands the same. Very slippery slope, and we're flying down it even faster than maybe we would have liked to have believed. Michigan. Judiciary Chair, Republican Sarah Lightner still refuses to hold a hearing for a red flag repeal in the Republican-controlled Michigan House, not allowing the gun rights groups to come and testify, not allowing pro-Second Amendment reps to be able to reinvigorate their messaging, and she won't take up the bill. Hopefully that'll change. Hopefully people are still very politely, but adamantly asking and demanding that happens. But the last action we saw is them trying to put QR codes on your CPL, where it'll take you to a website run by Dana Nessel, the Attorney General, and it would show you reciprocity. Now, a lot of my viewers, being the privacy type, are like, I don't want no QR code from the government on any of my official documentations. Halt, who goes there? Show me your papers. Show me your QR code, bling. I mean, it's kind of like, ugh. I don't know what it is, man, but there's something kind of creepy about a government QR code. But I digress. That's still moving along, from what I understand, swimmingly. All right. The next ones are kind of like, okay, I guess. And there's a couple that are good. So I'm going to go over them very briefly. Just the subject matter, and then I will do a standalone video because I have a lot of Michigan viewers. A lot of you guys aren't. That's why I put this on the second half, just to kind of let you know I'm on it. I'm aware of some things that are moving here along, and we'll do a dedicated video. It's like 5 bills, so maybe I can do the video in 15 or 20 minutes or less. That'll be coming up on this channel, I'd say within less than a week. Pappy Carl says, hello, new sub. Just started watching your Galil issues video and saw you live. Well, dude, that's an old school video, man. And welcome. Nice to have you here. And don't know how much of the stream you've been listening to tonight, but we have a good time over here. And yeah, we like guns, but sadly we can't show them while we're live here. But I do on my local streams. It's against YouTube's policy. But yeah, I am going to have some gun videos again on this channel soon. I had to take a long break. YouTube, it's a whole nother thing. We could get into this for a long time. I'll be real brief. They remove videos. They add restrictions to them. They just do all this. And, I've been doing my gun videos primarily on censorship-free sites that I've promoted ad nauseum here thousands of times. Statistically, very few people want to go over to the sites that are linked in the description. Locals, their sister site that rhymes with fumble. So I don't know. I might get myself banned off of here real quick, but I think I am going to be putting some gun videos out here soon. Yeah, man, my old Galil video. Dude, I wish YouTube didn't have its rules. If YouTube didn't have its rules, that Galil might be right over there, man. Did you guys remember? Does anyone remember when I used to do that on my live streams? Like, we used to do that. Somebody'd be like, well, how about a Galil? And I'd be like, hold on a minute. I get up and I walk over there and I grab it and I'd show you and we talk about it. And yeah, we still do that on Locals and Rumble, but and some of you guys love my streams over there. And I do need to get another local stream soon. I promise you I will. Thanks for being patient, guys. But it's tough, man. Like 5 people watching, it's that whole thing. Right, Mateo? 5 people watching. You know what I'm saying? Which I appreciate. I'm not saying 5 people don't count. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. YouTube's where people want to be. I get that crystal clear. All right. So this hearing's coming up next week. So let's see here. I guess there's so the ones the Paquette bill, weapons licensing, fee for renewal of CPL modified. They want to lower the CPL fee down to $30 in Michigan for 5 years. Now, on the surface, just from a transactional issue, all right, 130 down to 30, that's a win. Not really. Doesn't put a grin on my face. I mean, I'll fake one for you. See? Look how happy I am. Now, what Second Amendment supporters are asking for, advocating for, and demanding is, yeah, we want so-called constitutional carry. We want permitless carry in Michigan. If we have a Republican House, they need to pass it. Maybe get people invigorated to get off the couch and go vote. I'll tell you right now, I'm not excited enough to go vote. They've got another year to get me off the couch, or else I don't really sit on the couch, but off of the lawnmower or wherever it is I'm working. Should I go vote today? No, I can't tell the difference between Republicans and Democrats. I think I'll just cut an extra lawn. And I think some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I hope there's Michigan legislators listening to this. Trust me, many of them subscribe to this channel. And actually, it's a lot of their favorite channels, believe it or not. That's actually true. Sorry, guys. I think I'll just mow that extra lawn if you can't show me there's much of a difference between you and a Democrat. Now, that's a friendly challenge. There's still time. Hopefully they'll do better. So yeah, we can't get the Republicans to introduce constitutional carry in the committee. It's been introduced, but to hear it in a committee hearing, but it sounds like the committee chair is willing to hear reducing the fee of the CPL, and I hate that crap because it still accepts the premise. I don't accept the premise of needing to purchase a license to exercise my natural God-given right to keep and bear arms. Okay, this other one deals with pseudoephedrine, controlled substances. The next one is, this is the Wolford bill, which I think I see positively. Look, I don't accept the premise of the thing, though. That's the thing. Like, these are kind of positive on their face, but he wants to lower the age requirement from 21 down to 18, I believe, to get a CPL. Look, that's less worse than 21, but in a way, it just depends how, I mean, we shouldn't need a CPL. So to get excited about that means you must accept the premise that a CPL is a good thing. I don't accept the premise, so This Wolford bill, though, I do actually like. This is application for relief from firearms disability program. I'm going to have to get into this more in the other video, but it does give you a path to have relief if you've been a prohibited person, where you could get the way it's usually worded, get your gun rights back. I'm using air quotes. I don't like that wording, but as most people would say, it gives you more of a chance to get your gun rights back in Michigan. If you've changed, if you're no longer doing the bad things you were doing before, things of this nature. So that one actually does, I do like the premise of that. I do. The next one is a grace period for denials. This is the Outman bill. Due to administrative error. See, right now, if they commit an error and falsely deny you, you have to go reapply and all this again and pay again. But now if they make the mistake, if this bill were to pass, you get to go back and do it quicker. I'll have to get more into that later, but that's kind of okay, I guess. But all of this still accepts the premise, though, all right, that we have a concealed pistol license. And then the other one's the Maddox bill that's going to modify it to where you can modify the requirement to file in county of residence. So instead of, say you're a Wayne County, Michigan resident, it's tough to apply there. The lines are long. They're slow. The people at the counter are rude. All these things I've heard many times. You could go over to, Monroe County or Livingston County and apply there where it may be an easier thing. This is going to benefit people that live in a crap county, but it's going to actually maybe hinder the people that live in a good county because now the lines are longer. And let's just say Monroe County, because there's 100 people lined up at the counter from Wayne County. So depending on what side of that equation you're on, you may or may not like that. And again, in and of itself, I guess it's okay, but it still accepts the premise that you would still have a CPL. I want to see the Republican representatives, the Republican majority go in and actually try to push for constitutional carry. I know the governor will veto it. I just need to see enough of a movement. I need to see enough strong leaders in the People's House of Michigan to give me enough hope that these Republicans really do mean what they say about the Second Amendment to get me eager to go and vote again. I think a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Right now, I'm disillusioned. I'm not eager. I'd like to see them light a fire under us to where we're like, whoa, wow. Dude, these guys are putting it right out there. You know, they're having committee hearings on repealing red flag, repealing, the storage laws that were put into effect last time around. The universal licensing registration scheme that was put in the last time around, repealing that. Look, it all needs repeal, but you have to start somewhere, right? But I need to see them like advocating. I know the governor won't sign it. I know. But the Democrats in the Senate just passed 3 gun control bills, just hoping the Republicans might take it up. No, it's to get their base excited to keep coming. All the people that side with this Everytown and all these. See, the Democrats know how to message. You got to give them that. Thousands of people show up at the rallies. They know how to message. They know how to pay for the messaging. It's bought and paid for, sure, but it still stands with what I said. The Democrats know how to do it. Yeah, I know it's corrupt. I know it's immoral. I get all that. They get the people to come. They promise, if you elect me, I'll try to ban every last gun. And then when the Democrats are in power, they do it as much as they possibly can. The Republicans say, well, hold on a minute. We have to protect the vulnerable representatives from Oakland County. No, you don't. No, you don't. And you're going to lose the majority in the House, and the Democrats are going to get the trifecta again because there's a lot of people, way more people than they could ever even acknowledge. Their pollsters should all get fired because they have no idea. There's a lot of people that are like, dude, you all better show you're a little bit different. You better show a little more energy. You better all be a little more shall not be infringed, or a lot of people just ain't going to come and vote anymore. And I'm the one that's trying to keep you all from swallowing the black pill. I'm the one that's been here. Do you know how many subscribers I've lost? How many thumbs downs I've gotten? Because I'm like, guys, you still need to vote. You got to do it. Well, guess what, though? If you get out there and vote and you get invigorated and you flip the House over to Republican and they don't want to pass any meaningful gun control repeal, I'm starting more and more to understand where you guys are coming from, actually. I get it. We need to be excited. We need to be invigorated. And then maybe enough people will show up. Gun owners, Second Amendment supporters, people that love liberty. Maybe some libertarians would come and vote for select Republican candidates that are true Second Amendment defenders. See, it's always this stupid false dichotomy where they're like, oh man, too bad those 3% of the people voted for the libertarian, because if you move their votes over to the Republican column, the Republican could have won. Yeah, that's a political strategist that's a novice. That's called a big dummy. That just ain't the way it works. I know libertarians better than that. Libertarians aren't just going to vote for a Republican, okay? They're not Republicans. People like me that have no political place, no political home in this world, we're not just carte blanche Republicans. But if Republicans can invigorate, if they can send a strong message that, hey, look, now that we've got the House, we're going to repeal red flag laws in the House. We're going to pass constitutional carry in the House. Now, it won't become law yet, or it won't repeal the law yet, because we do need to take the governorship and Senate. That's going to get people like me actually excited. It's going to give me a little hope. I have libertarian friends that would cross over and vote for that Republican that's staunchly out there leading the charge, holding hearings, holding floor votes to repeal red flag laws. Do you guys agree with me? I understand the apathy out there. I understand that it's two wings of the same bird. It's two sides of the same coin. I get it. That's why I'm trying to send out a positive message and try to encourage people. And you guys are either so enthralled with my powerful message that I've left you mesmerized, you can no longer talk, or I've just bored everybody completely stiff. But make sure you check out my locals community. Check me out on X. I'll be over on these other places making posts in just a few minutes here. And look forward to those standalone videos. And I will see you all again soon. All right. Thanks for watching. And have a good one.